Hey everybody, Jesse Calynn here with Calynn Corner, and I am back to bring you my predictions for SummerSlam 2020. Bet you never saw that coming. See what I did there? Haha. Now, we're going to jump straight into these predictions, but before we do that, I would like to ask all of you to please hit like on this video, and if you haven't already, please also subscribe to the channel. There will be more future content, including my predictions for Payback next week. Now, the first thing I want to mention is the Thunderdome. What's that, you might ask? Although, if you have to ask that, you've apparently been living under a rock somewhere, because, come on now. Everyone knows this. The Thunderdome is the new home of all WWE live shows until further notice, starting with this week's SmackDown and going onward. This will all be taking place at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, and also featuring live virtual audience. It should be interesting. I sure hope. And now with that said, let's move on to the whole reason that you're all here. Predictions! So, the first match we're starting with is Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville in a hair versus hair match. Now, I'm looking forward to this match, because I'm a fan of these sort of weird stipulations. Maybe I'm just old school still or something. I think they both look better with hair personally, but I'm still interested to see how it goes. I don't think Mandy's going to lose this match. I see Sonya losing it. I just can't see Mandy going bald. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't see it. So, I'm going to say, even though I feel like Sonya probably should win this match, perhaps it seems like it would go that way normally, I'm going to say Mandy wins. And technically speaking, it's probably about time she wins, because I think Sonya's been dominating for quite a while now. And maybe once that happens, they move on to a different story. But we'll find out. So, Mandy for the win. Next match on the table is Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States Championship. Again, technically. We know that these guys were supposed to wrestle at the last pay-per-view, and Apollo Crews was supposedly injured, so he wasn't able to. And they've wrestled again since then. And they keep wrestling, and they keep feuding, and they just keep going, and going, and going. And I don't know why, because honestly, I think that MVP should have stopped making excuses a long time ago and just admit that he sucks, and Apollo Crews deserves a good proper run against opponents I can actually take serious. I'm kind of tired of seeing him going up against MVP over and over again. You know, maybe put him up against Bobby Lashley, which I feel like should have happened ages ago, but for some reason it's always MVP, the guy that's supposed to hype the other guys that's not getting the title face-offs they should have. But that's just my thought. So hopefully in this match they do the right thing, and Apollo wins, and he gets to go on to bigger and better things, and his run is meaningful because he deserves a meaningful run. That said, I'm going with Apollo for the win here. Our next match on the card is the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza for the Raw Tag Team Championships. For all intents and purposes, it would make sense for the Street Profits to win after the whole poisoning thing, you know, let the good guy win at some point or something. And maybe they do, but for the simple fact that the Street Profits had the last laugh, if I'm not mistaken, on Raw this past Monday, I think Andrade and Garza might actually win. But we shall see. So on that note, I'm picking Andrade and Garza. The next match. Bayley versus Asuka for the SmackDown title. And since they're more or less going to go hand in hand, I think I'm going to also mention Sasha Banks versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, based off that quote-unquote discussion that Banks and Bayley had on Raw, I think we're going to see Bayley versus Asuka happen first, which is why I actually mentioned them first. And the way I think this is going to happen is that Bayley possibly retains with Sasha helping her, and then accidentally screws over Sasha in her match, and Asuka wins. Or it could happen vice versa, and maybe Bayley loses, and then Asuka beats Sasha. Or perhaps Asuka walks away with both wins and later on loses one of the titles to Shayna, which is a big thing that I think could very well possibly happen. But I'm not sure. So, just because I have to pick one and I can't just cheat and go with all of them, I don't know why. It's my video. I could say whatever I want and no one could stop me. I could say Asuka wins all of the gold, or Sasha wins, or Bayley wins. Who knows? But for the heck of it, to make life easier, I'm just going to say that Bayley loses her match and Sasha wins her match because Bayley interferes to help. Or was it the other way around? See, this is confusing. Let's just try this again. Bayley retains because Sasha helps her somehow. And then when Asuka goes up against Sasha, Bayley interferes and accidentally causes Sasha to lose. Therefore, Asuka wins the Raw title. That's what I'm going to go with. Final answer. Next is Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. Now, I'm super excited for this match, partly because it's a street fight and street fights are awesome, and partly because I'm excited to see what Dominic can do. Based off of the little bit I got to see a few weeks ago when he attacked Seth Rollins and Murphy, I think he actually looks like he's going to be pretty good in the ring, so I'm excited to see that. Now, this one's a bit hard to predict to me because story-wise, it makes perfect sense for Dominic to win and avenge his father, so that could happen. But I don't know that Seth should lose yet, if that makes any sense. I really think Dominic should win, but I think that Seth is going to win this match. So, I'm going with that. Seth wins somehow, but Dominic will probably get his revenge in the future somehow. Who knows? I'm sure the writers know. Or maybe they don't, because they change their mind every 5 minutes. Yeah. Thankfully, they've done well with this story, though, up to this point. Now we move on to the next match, which is Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Now, this could be the main event. I'm not totally sure. I'm just deciding to pick this one first because the one I'm saving for last is my favorite, for obvious reasons. But anyway, back on subject. I think that Randy Orton has been doing one heck of a good heel run. This is like what I saw him do way back in the day when he was the Legend Killer before. And it's really given him a lot of momentum. So I think that said, it's very possible that he's going to beat Drew McIntyre. But then at the same time, I'm not sure. I don't know why there's Payback the following week. SummerSlam's the biggest show, at least in the summer. You know, it's the second biggest show of the year. But I don't know. I don't know what WWE is planning. It's possible that because Randy Orton got the upper hand on Raw, and I know I lean on this a lot, but that's because WWE's been doing it for 4,000 years or something. I think it's also possible Drew McIntyre might win. Maybe this is the thing we don't see coming. Maybe it makes sense to everyone for Randy Orton to win because of just how much he's been triumphing lately. But at the same time, Drew McIntyre's momentum would probably be pretty stalled if he lost the title. So, just because I like Drew and I'd like to see him keep going, even though I also like Randy too, and I'm okay either way, ultimately, I'm going to go ahead and say Drew wins the title, or retains rather. Final answer, again. Now, last but not least, my personal favorite of the night, Braun Strowman versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt in a Universal Championship match. Now, we've been seeing these two go head-to-head for quite some time now. You know, it started at the beginning where Funhouse Bray confronted Strowman, and of course he lost at Money in the Bank. And then we went on to have the Swamp Fight where we got to see the old Wyatt family leader Bray persona, and that was pretty awesome. And now we finally get The Fiend, and The Fiend is like the ultimate version we have of Bray. You know, at least for now, until he adds something else that's probably going to be mind-blowing, like everything he does, in my personal opinion. This one's another hard one to predict for me. It's hard because I don't know where Bray may be going with this story. I 100% want Bray to win, because it's Bray. I love Bray. I always want Bray to win. I just don't know what they're doing with the story, and I am a little concerned that Braun might win. If, in fact, he does, I'm sure Bray's going to tell some phenomenal story to go along with it, and everything works out in the end. All that good stuff. However, I'm still holding out that hope. So I'm still going with The Fiend Bray Wyatt for the win, because honestly, I can't turn my back on my dude Bray. So, Bray Wyatt for the win. Final answer, and that is the final match, unless they add something else from SmackDown tonight. Or, yeah, tonight. It is Friday at the time of recording this video. So, they could add another match, and if they do, then I'll just drop some random predictions on my Twitter page or something like that. So, there you have it, everybody. That is my predictions for SummerSlam 2020. And like I said at the beginning, you never saw them coming. Ha ha ha, I'm so funny. Now please, remember to hit like if you liked this video, which I hope you did. And also, definitely subscribe to the channel. As I said at the beginning, there will be future content on here. And I hope you will join me forever! Yeah. Also, you can go find me on Instagram and Twitter at jcalynart. That is at JCALYNN art. And I would love to have you there. Thank you so much for watching my video. This has been Jesse Calynn with another awesome Calynn Corner video. See you all next time.